With the Epstein story back in the headlines, people are once again trying to connect the dots, and each time, the connections get even more surprising. One of the latest? A link between Melania Trump and Jeffrey Epstein.
Only I have my story. I know the truth.
Let's rewind a bit. Melania Naus, yes, before she was a Trump, started modeling at just 16. Born in what was then Yugoslavia, she worked in Paris and Milan before landing in the US in 1996, thanks to a man named Paolo Zampoli. He sponsored her immigration, gave her modeling gigs, and even arranged for her to share an apartment with photographer Matthew Attanian. Now here's where it gets a little murky. Melania was on a travel visa that didn't actually allow her to work. Yet, she reportedly did around 10 modeling jobs during that time. And at 26, she was older than most models just getting started in the business.
I had a successful modeling career. I came to New York 1996.
Zampoli eventually helped her get a proper work visa, and one of her first big gigs was a Camel cigarette ad shot by Ellen von Unwerth. It landed on a Times Square billboard and in Rolling Stone.
I'm proud of it. Yes, I am.
But here's where the Epstein connection starts getting interesting. Zampoli, who was shifting from fashion into real estate, still owned ID Models, an agency he later used in his partnership with the Trump Organization. And ID Models wasn't just about fashion. Models were reportedly used to help sell luxury real estate. Melania never had a real estate license, but she was part of this world. Now, depending on who you ask, the story of how Melania met Donald Trump changes. Zampoli claims he introduced them at a party during New York Fashion Week in 1998.
We met in New York. It was a fashion week and it was a party, big party, so we met there.
But Epstein also once claimed he introduced her to Trump, suggesting he knew Melania first. For the record, Zampoli denied that in 2019. And Melania? She tells a version that doesn't involve either of them. At that now infamous party, Trump was still married to Marla Maples and showed up with another woman, Norwegian heiress Selina Middelfart. But that didn't stop him from asking Melania for her number.
So he asked me for the number and I said, I will not give you my number. So if you give me your numbers, I will call you.
So what does Epstein have to do with all this? According to Michael Wolff, the journalist behind Fire and Fury, quite a bit. In a podcast interview, he claimed Melania was very involved in Epstein's social circle. Wolff even says Melania was introduced to Trump through mutual ties to a modeling agency that both Trump and Epstein were connected with. Epstein knew her well, Wolff stated. Politico has also pointed out that Zampoli, the same man who brought Melania to the US, had ties to both Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And here's a detail that raises eyebrows. There's barely any information about Melania's personal life before Trump, as if someone hit the reset button. Coincidence? In audio recordings Michael Wolff made before Epstein's death, Epstein allegedly hinted that things between Trump and Melania may have first turned intimate on his infamous private jet, the Lolita Express. Now, that's a deeply unsettling claim, and it's one that needs to be taken with serious caution. Wolff didn't hold back. He openly questioned Melania's role in all this. Where does she fit into Epstein's world? The whole culture of models of indeterminate age. It's a question that, frankly, many are now asking. Now, do we know what's really true here? Number. But the mix of conflicting stories, missing details, and unusual connections definitely raises eyebrows. Whether it's all just coincidence or something deeper, it's no surprise people are taking a closer look. Let's rewind a bit. Trump and Epstein weren't just acquaintances, they were buddies. Their friendship goes back decades, with both men living it up between New York and Palm Beach. There are photos, flight records, and yes, parties. A lot of them. They were spotted together at Trump's Mar-a-Lago club and dining in Epstein's lavish Manhattan mansion. In 2002, Trump told New York Magazine, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with." And then added, "Brace yourself." It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. Yikes. There's also that 1992 NBC clip from Mar-a-Lago, where Trump and Epstein are seen pointing at women on the dance floor like they're picking items off a menu. That same year, Trump reportedly hosted a calendar girl competition at the resort. According to George Haraney, who helped organize it, 28 girls flew in for the event, only to find out that the only guests were Trump and Epstein.
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress is.
But somewhere along the way, the bromance soured. By 2004, Trump and Epstein were reportedly rivals, both trying to snatch up prime Palm Beach real estate. No one knows exactly what happened, but the vibe clearly changed. By 2019, after Epstein's arrest, Trump was keeping his distance, saying, "I was not a fan. I had a falling out with him a long time ago." Trump has always insisted he had nothing to do with Epstein's shady dealings. He claimed he never flew on the infamous private jet or visited the private island. But then, the flight logs came out, and according to those, Trump flew with Epstein 7 times.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
Then there's Virginia Giuffre, an Epstein survivor who tragically took her own life in April 2025. She said she was working at Mar-a-Lago as a locker room attendant when Ghislaine Maxwell recruited her. Also, former model Stacey Williams told The Guardian last year that Epstein took her to Trump's Fifth Avenue penthouse back in 1993 and then encouraged Trump to grope her. She called it a twisted game. Trump denies it ever happened. But what really sent eyebrows flying were the recordings released by journalist Michael Wolff. In tapes from 2017, Epstein described himself as Donald's closest friend for 10 years. He painted a pretty grim picture. Trump yelling at staff, womanizing, friendless except for Ivanka, his secretary, and a bodyguard.
Horrible.
According to Epstein, Trump was almost functionally illiterate and only read the Page 6 gossip column. Ouch.
He's not functionally illiterate. But his reading comprehension is very complicated.
But the part that's likely to stir up the most outrage? Epstein's claims about Trump's behavior with women. He said Trump once bragged after an encounter in an Atlantic City casino, "The only thing I really like to do is wives of my best friends." Charming.
He does nasty things to his best friends' wives. Anyone who first tries to gain the trust and then loses it.
Of course, Trump's campaign team pushed back hard. His former press secretary Caroline Leavitt called the tapes outlandish false smears and accused Wolff of trying to interfere in the election, on behalf of Kamala Harris, no less.